Dornishmen and Highgardeners have never had great love for one another. Over the centuries, they had fought border wars beyond count and raided back and forth across mountains and marches, even when at peace. The thoughts of Tyrion Lannister, A Storm of Swords Chapter 19, Tyrion 3. House Manwoody of Kingsgrave is a minor noble house from Kingsgrave in northern Dorne as part of the lower foothills of the Red Mountains. Their seat is placed at the bottom of the Prince's Pass, guarding access to Dorne, which in turn makes it a key defensive position for the Dornish. The location of their seat near the Red Mountains likely places them among the Stony Dornish, the people group of Dornish under the classification set out by King Daeron I Targaryen after his brief conquest of Dorne. The Manwoodys are said to blazon their banner with a white skull with a gold crown over a black field. Some speculate this might be because they were kings at some point in their history, but it seems their banner actually comes from a different source altogether. There is more evidence that actually suggests the banner and the name of their seat actually comes from the fact the early Manwoodys slew a king, hence the skull and crown on their banner, and the name of their seat, Kingsgrave. Given their location near the Red Mountains, the men of House Manwoody have often been known to raid into the Dornish marches, including parts of both the Reach and the Stormlands via the Prince's Pass. During their early years of prominence while they were still a smaller house, they would often join forces with houses of similar size to raid together, or join the raiding parties of larger houses rather than lead their own, but in time the house grew large enough to raid independently. There once was a king, Oberyn, who claimed dominion over parts of the Red Mountains of Dorne during the time period where the Rhoynar refugees arrived in Dorne. While it's believed Manwoody Kingdom was one of the smaller petty kingdoms that made up Dorne before the Martell unification, it was still one of the few petty kingdoms that existed before Nymeria's wars. The Rhoynish warrior queen Nymeria and her husband Prince Myles Martell defeated King Oberyn with relative ease during Nymeria's war. After the war had come to an end, and Dorne as a whole was now under the control of House Martell and Nymeria, all the defeated kings who had bent the knee and gave up their crowns were sent to the far north, to the Wall, to join the Black Brothers of the Night's Watch, something that even after Dorne joined the Seven Kingdoms under House Targaryen would be a rare sight to see. It's believed these kings were given gold chains and fetters for the long journey by sea to Eastwatch, the easternmost castle of the Night's Watch. By all accounts, the Manwoodys became loyal bannermen to House Martell, fighting bravely against the might of House Targaryen during the First Dornish War, along with the other houses that called the Prince's Pass home. Their role in the defence of Dorne was vital, given how the Prince's Pass is arguably the quickest and most accessible way by land into Dorne. Thus why the bulk of Targaryen force and focus would be around the Prince's Pass. While we have no confirmation, there is some reason to suspect that Kingsgrave, much like all the other Dornish seats and castles, were burned by the dragon flames of House Targaryen during the First Dornish War, and especially during the Dragon's Wrath after the death of Queen Rhaenys Targaryen over Hellholt. The role of House Manwoody and their neighbours in the Red Mountains played in the defence of Dorne, most certainly an important factor as to why House Targaryen were unable to take and hold Dorne by force, with the Dornish joining the realm of the dragons via marriage instead. I am not one to boast, but there is royal blood in my veins, and descended from a princess. My father told me the tale when I was a tad of a lad. She was the fairest treasure of the Maiden Vault. Lord Oakenfist, the great admiral, lost his heart to her, though he was married to another. She gave their son the bastard name of Waters, in honour of his father, and he grew to be a great knight, as did his own son, who put the name long before the Waters, so men might know that he was not bastardly born himself. So I have a little dragon in me. Yes, I almost mistook you for Aegon the Conqueror, Rennifer Longwaters, and Jaime Lannister talking about Elaena Targaryen. A Feast for Crows, Chapter 8, Jaime 1. During the reign of King Daeron II Targaryen, around the years 184 to 109 AC, a Michael Manwoody was a knight of House Manwoody. In his early years, he studied at the Citadel in Oldtown, but it's not clear if his intent was actually to become a maester or not. He was a cultured man of great learning and wit, he attended Queen Oberyn Martell at her court after her marriage to King Daeron, later serving King Daeron at court. He became a great confidant of the king. On several occasions, he was sent to Braavos to negotiate on behalf of the Iron Throne to the Iron Bank of Braavos. There are letters recorded of correspondence between him and the key holder of the bank. While it was Michael's name on the seal of the letters, the handwriting actually appears to belong to Princess Elaena Targaryen. Michael and Elaena were wed with the blessing of King Daeron II shortly after the death of Elaena's previous husband. Their marriage was one of love. According to Princess Elaena, she had fallen in love with Michael because of his passion for music, not his intelligence. Michael would often play the harp for her. When Michael died, Elaena commanded that his effigy be made carrying a harp instead of a sword and spurs, which was commonly used for knights' effigies. Elaena and Michael had no children together that we know of. During the events of A Storm of Swords, the Lord of Kingsgrave is Lord Dagos. His younger brother, Sir Miles Manwoody, and his two sons, Mors and Dickon, are part of the entourage of nobles who travelled with Prince Oberyn Martell when he came to King's Landing to claim the seat Tyrion Lannister had offered the Prince of Dorne, Oberyn Martell, on the Small Council, as well as to represent House Martell at the wedding of King Joffrey Baratheon to Margaery Tyrell. Myles and his sons seemed to be quite friendly with Oberyn, as they were among the first of his entourage he introduced to Tyrion Lannister when he meets the party outside of the gates of King's Landing. After Joffrey Lannister is assassinated at his own wedding feast in what became known as the Purple Wedding, Tyrion Lannister is arrested and accused of his murder. Oberyn is part of the trial of Tyrion, whom in the end is found guilty, but demands instead a trial by combat. As the dwarf struggles to find a man willing to fight, Oberyn volunteers himself, but the Red Viper has ulterior motives, as he wants to face Sir Gregor Clegane, the champion for the crown, the man who had murdered his young sister Elia and her children during the sack of King's Landing at the end of Robert's Rebellion. On the day of the trial, we know that Lord Dagos is present to witness, having travelled to King's Landing at some point after hearing news of the trial. However, it is also assumed that as the other Dornish nobles who travelled with Oberyn are also present, it suggests that Sir Myles and his sons were too there. Oberyn loses his fight with Sir Gregor, which comes as a huge shock to the Dornish. Dagos is later present at the feast held at Sunspear when Sir Balon Swan arrives to deliver the head of the mountain, Sir Gregor, as a peace offering to Oberyn Martell after his brother's death. Like many of the Dornish lords, he refuses to drink when Ricassio raises a toast to King Tommen.